Hi, I'm Keith Ball. I'm going to talk about what successful architects do. These are the 5 things that will be covered in the presentation. Software architects are leaders in their team and the broader organization. Of course, they're experts in their technology, the development and deployment of their solutions that they're working on. They need to understand their business needs and build the solution for it. And as a leader in the organization, trust is the foundation of being successful as an architect. I was an architect, software architect for over 20 years, many of those years in the media technology and services business. My last job was at TiVo. I was there 11 years, and at the last few years, I was a distinguished engineer, but I'm retired now. The first area that I want to cover is knowing your system. You need to understand all the components of the system, the solution at hand that makes your product, and how they work and how they fit together. Now, you need to cover this not at the code level, which you need to know, of course, for some aspects of it, but from an abstraction from the code so that you can get a sense of how all the pieces are put together and how they fit without actually getting lost in the weeds. To do this, you should document what you learn about the system, what you understand about the system, not only so that you can get a deeper understanding, because I always feel that when you're creating a document, you understand it better, but as well as a basis for explaining to other people. It's important that not only that you understand, but the team and the broader audience, including the management of the organization, they need to understand how the system works, how it fits with the business needs or doesn't fit with the business needs, and how things need to change so that when the business needs change or as the business needs evolve, what you need to do to make the system fit and work again. So that documentation, it fits whatever form it works for you, and also whatever works for your organization. You have to be culturally sensitive to how your organization works and know what documentation works best. As the business needs change or evolve, you're going to need to explain and adapt your understanding, and also adapt your explanations to how that system has to change and what things are expensive or not expensive to put into the system, and what you're going to build and what you're going to partner with. And then, of course, the very important part, fundamental to building trust within your organization, certainly with the management team, is you need to justify why you're doing this. You need to explain to people why the system as is, or the system as it needs to change, will solve the business needs at hand. Next, it's important to lead and support the engineering team. It's not just that you need to work with the developers. You need to empower the developers. You need to make sure that they are effective with their ideas and with their actions. So first thing is you got to always value their opinions, and you don't value their opinions just by internalizing them. You need to be valuing their opinions by being actively supportive of their ideas. They need to get that. You need to have that feedback loop present so that they understand what they're saying and how you're internalizing it and expressing it to them, giving them that feedback loop. But also that when a person, who won't speak up, or somebody who is not actively participating, you bring them into the conversation in a way that's effective for them. And then they hear that you're saying, they see that you're valuing what you're doing by bringing them into that discussion. Second, if there's a person who is like not being heard, but has valuable opinion, speak up for them and tell the group that, hey, this person here is saying something that's really important and valuable. You guys need to listen to what that person is saying. And then as you're working and understanding the system and the changes you want to put into the system, or whatever other aspects of work that you're doing as the architect, you need to incorporate that feedback you're getting from the people as you're, discussing things with them, and reflect that feedback into in your work, and so that they can see that you're really listening to them. Then, of course, all architects have to ensure that the right infrastructure and development tools are present in the organization so that the team can be effective and productive. So the architect needs to lead on this. They need to create and build, deploy, develop whatever tools and operational infrastructure is necessary and have it operating and working effectively for the system. But you need to also show people how to use it and validate that what you want to do is going to work for the system that you have and the requirements that you have from your business. So one of the things that's important to do is to design and to create design patterns that show how to effectively use the tools and infrastructure that you've put in place, and document these so that other people can utilize those patterns in their work. And then, very importantly, you need to build examples. These examples show somebody how to use the infrastructure and follow the design patterns. And it also allows you to validate and test the infrastructure to show that it'll work reliably and effectively. A better example would to actually build a real component, a component that will be part of the end solution, and have that thing operating in the system based on your new design patterns, your new infrastructure and tools. And this really establishes to your team that this infrastructure is in place, that you're fully behind it, and that you're there to help them to understand how to do it. This is very important aspect of the trust that you have to build with your team, is validating that infrastructure and ensuring that they understand how to use it. Then probably even beforehand or while you're doing it, you need to evangelize that infrastructure and tools that you build. And not only do you need to evangelize it to the engineering team, you need to evangelize it and justify it to the management team as well. Remember, they're going to be the ones with the budget. They're going to be the ones who are allowing you to spend money to build and develop something. So you need to make sure that they understand what you're building, why you're building it, and how it's going to really help build a better solution all around. And then lastly, gets back to how the team works and how to be really a leader in the team. As you see the team do something and do something successfully, make sure that you're out there giving credit for the team. Tell people what's going on, tell people what they did well, and tell people how you really appreciate the hard work that they've done and the success that they have in the building of that function. And lastly, if things go wrong, if you make the mistake, own up for your mistakes. Make sure no one else is taking the blame for you. You need to be the leader, and if there's blame that needs to be apportioned, you should accept and take that blame. Even if it's the team making a mistake, you take that blame for them. This is going to show them that you have their back. They're gonna appreciate you standing up for them with the team. Remember, you built your support with the management people. Now this is going to leverage that support with and building more of that foundation trust with the team. So building and supporting your role, you got to listen. Listen is probably the most important thing. Don't just keep out there evangelizing your ideas, talking what's important to do, telling people what's important to do. It's okay to do those things, but make sure you listen to your management team, your engineering development team, the product teams, whatever organizational things that are involved in the solution that you're building. Make sure you're listening to those people, and then make sure that when they when everyone is talks and has an idea, that everyone's idea is heard. Like, take ownership of making sure the communication around the group and people involved in the solution and the architecture is heard, and then empower those people on your team and in other organizations to lead. Make sure that the product team is, that their leadership is being respected and understood as well. Lastly, the importance of trust in management and what is often around delivering to your promises. So tell people what you're doing and make sure you do it. If there's issues, make sure you tell people about the issues. Manage up. Make sure that you're driving the management of what help you need, and when issues come up, what issues are coming up, and if something needs to change, why you're changing it, and what needs to change to go along with that. So, not only tell them what you're doing, but tell them also what you're not doing. And then listen to the management, listen to the engineering, listen to the other aspects of the organization that support the development and creation of the service and solutions that you're building. Listen to that and then incorporate that into what you are doing as well. Take that feedback and show that you're listening to them and valuing their opinions. And when there's something that you disagree with, be upfront about it and be clear about it. Don't be judgmental. Don't, just explain why you think that what you need to do is this versus what somebody may be suggesting. But so you need to find your replacement. And I don't mean that in terms of like, you need to cast yourself out of the organization. The idea is that you're finite. Everybody is. You can only do so much. And the list of work for you in your organization is going to be beyond your ability, beyond anybody's ability. A successful organization is moving forward and wanting to do more and more and more work. And you're just not going to be able to keep up to do everything you want. So for sure, you need to be able to prioritize your work, and you need to be able to be clear on what you're doing. So what I do is I've made a list of 20 things. I pick the top 5 things that I'm going to work on and make some accomplishment in some time period that I'm discussing. Could be a quarter, could be whatever the time frame is appropriate for it. And then I'm going to pick the 5 things that are on the bottom that I'm not going to do. They're going to get no attention. They're important, but they're not going to get any attention. Then I'm going to take that list of 20 things. I'm going to ask, what other things am I missing? What things do you think I should be doing that I'm not doing? And, if somebody wants to, if somebody's telling you need to do 10 things, I always said, no, this is all I can do. I can do these 5. I can do 5 things. You can change the 5 things, but you can't, that's my capacity. So you need to make sure people understand that you have finite capacity, but then take their feedback, integrate it in, come back with your updated list of things, what you prioritize and what you're doing, what you're not doing. And really, it's important to build trust on this thing by doing what you say you're going to do, and people hearing that you've taken their feedback. But it's really important that you need to justify, especially the 5 things that are not getting done. Why are these things less important or not important versus the other things that may get some attention and the things that will get most of your attention? And then, now this is the aspect of replacement, where I meant replacement, is you need to find individuals on the team or beyond the team, whatever within your organization. I mean, even if it's somebody outside, maybe bring people in, but at least within your organization that you feel have the basis, the capabilities of being an architect, a software architect, that they may not be there already. They may not even be close to being there, but they have the foundation in them that will be an architect. And then take those people and mentor and guide them. So some people may be relatively close, and mentoring them, guide them may mean getting them an architecture project that either you're doing or one of the ones that you're not doing, and have them do that project and help them with that project. Make sure that they do a good job with that project, and make sure whatever areas that they're working with or struggling with, that you're there for them to help them, show them what to do, make sure that they understand what it is. And then very importantly, make sure the management teams understands why you're doing this with them. Make sure that their objectives are tied into this thing as well. That's what you really want, because, I'm assuming these people want to be software architects. So you're going to need to give that management team a clear idea that, this person has this feedback for you, and you need to talk to them about setting their objectives and giving them the capacity and space to do this. Because you just can't pick somebody out of the organization and start changing the work that they're doing. You're going to need to evolve this with the management team. But still, the mentoring and the guiding them is really independent of them actually doing a project. That's where it has to take the more coordination. Mentoring and guiding them and showing them what a real software architect's going to do and how it's going to work, that you can do on your own with just working with that individual. And then, over time, you'll see how they're working. And then at some point, you're going to want to talk to that management team and say, hey, look, this person is really coming along here. We really need to give them a chance to improve and get better, and maybe take on some of these responsibilities that we have hanging around that aren't getting done. And then once you get this person up and running and doing some of this project, you've basically just stretched out your ability to do more work. You're basically leveraging all this other people in the organization to get your big priorities of architecture done. Things that you couldn't have done on your own because there's just not enough of you to go around. Now you're actually succeeding and getting those things done because you've actually went out and made you more effective, made yourself more effective by leveraging more people. So I just want to give one example here of something that I did that, started out not working out so well and ended up working better. So I was new to a company, and I was learning. They have a pretty good size back-end service system, and had a lot of components and millions and millions and millions of lines of code, and old pieces and new pieces. And there was people that had expertise in different parts of it. And so I was going around and interviewing people and discussing how things worked, and then building different documents about covering the different subcomponents of that service, configuration management, for example, or provisioning, or whatever aspects of the system, the application specific functions. And as was my nature to do things, which I had done in previous organizations, I created a narrative document with some pictures in it and a description of how the components were, and what all the pieces were, and how it all fit together. And when I got, to a suitable level of accomplishment in that document, I started, sending it out in a normal way to people and to read and to give some feedback or ask questions about it. I wasn't, it was a small set of people that were able to give me these feedbacks on these documents, but I just didn't get anybody to give me these feedback and or questions. And I know, if nobody's giving you feedback, if no one tells you your idea is a stupid idea once in a while, then no one's listening. So I didn't get any of that feedback. So I said, oh, this is not working. So I decided I needed to take a different approach. So I started to build diagrams of the major systems and the subsystems, and I started breaking those diagrams out into more detailed types of diagrams. I liked using UML modeling, which I was very into back at that time. And I built UML models, different types of them, and do that. And built an internal website with all the diagrams, and I published them on there. And then I had small groups of people, 4 or 5, and I made presentations to those people. And I used the diagrams and talked with them. And then I started getting a lot more feedback, a lot more interest in what I was doing, a lot more questions, a lot more people saying, no, that's not exactly how it works. And of course, then I improved my understanding considerably, as well as now we have this document of this abstraction of the whole system. I believe we improved the whole knowledge of the organizations of the system. So the key thing here was I listened to feedback, or frankly, I listened to the lack of feedback, and then I changed my direction and found something that was more culturally compatible with the organization and the people that I was working with, and found that I had a better solution, and evolved and developed that solution over many years, and actually got other people in the organization and other senior architecture people in the organization to adopt this tool set. And it became a standard in a lot of the things that we were doing going forward. Well, that's all I have to say in the presentation. Thank you very much. I hope you got some value out of this. Bye.